what's going on, everybody? My name is Chad, and this week we are doing quite possibly my most requested textbook video of all time, and that would be Heisig's Remembering the Kanji. Now, to be fair, there's 3 books that I know of in this series, not including the hiragana katakana one, but we're only going to focus on the first one because that tends to be the most popular one for every language learner ever. In fact, I don't think I've known anyone that's ever gone to book 2 or 3. But just to do so, I'll just tell you what they are. The first book is How to Remember the Meanings of Kanji. The second book is How to Remember the Readings of the Kanji. And the third book is kind of a mix of both of those, but for more like upper level reading. Now, you guys know how I grade these categories. This is what, the second, third, fourth, whatever in the series, but we'll give you a refresher. I rate all my books on 3 categories. Format and usability. Is it easy to follow? Can you study it on your own? Number 2, content. How dense is the book? Is it full of stuff? Is it a little light? Where does it fit in the scale of textbooks? And finally, 3 is value. Is it worth you guys spending your money on? Alright, with everything wrapped up, let's just get straight into it. First things first, the format changes throughout the book, and not the format of learning, but how it is presented, because the first few pages are going to be, it's just like reading a regular noveled book. It's just a bunch of words that tell you and explain to you how the method works and how you should use the book in conjunction with whatever learning method you happen to use. And a brief overview of the Heisig method in general is taking the radicals, the individual pieces of the kanjis, and putting them together to make pictures that make up the meaning or definition of that kanji. And the more fantastical and crazy and imaginary and explosive as you can get the image in your head, the more likely it is to stick, as opposed to just running a flashcard that says, this means this, this means this. You're activating the imaginary centers of the brain instead of whatever normal, boring center normal information would go into and get processed, and you would remember it a lot more clearly. Now, the first 100 or so kanjis in the book, he gives very detailed pictures and explanations for each and every kanji. So really all you have to do is become familiar with his story to remember said kanji, but as you go throughout the book, he'll give you less and less and less of his own stories and expect you to kind of fill in the stories with your own fluff until eventually all he gives you is what the radicals are. And then he completely expects you, the user, to formulate a story. And this, I gotta admit, was a little difficult, but it is a technique that I use not just in kanji, but I use it in all of my language learning. I actually use it in all of my learning in general. Now, because coming up with thousands of stories for all of these different kanjis and radicals and how similar some of them can get, I recommend that you guys use this just like how you would study vocabulary or grammar. You should get a spaced repetition or a smart flashcard system like Memrise. And in fact, Memrise has a very active Heisig Remembering the Kanji community that updates a deck with all sorts of hundreds of user-generated, thousands of user-generated pictures and images and sayings and stories that will help you come up with your own, or you can just steal theirs, which is what I do 99% of the time. So for formatting of the book, honestly, I give it an 8 out of 10. The only reason I won't give it a 9 or a 10 is because he gradually breaks it off and makes you do more of the work, and I think in order to get an excellent format score, you should probably be doing most of the work as the book author. I get why he does it. He wants it to be more personal to you, and he thinks that if it's your stories, then you'll be more likely to retain the information. I understand, but I'm lazy too. So if he made all of it, it'd be a 10 out of 10 for now, 8 out of 10. As for content, it is pretty much every kanji, almost, like all of them. Obviously, the Japanese government takes away some and adds some every couple years to the core 2,000-ish words that they have. I think this book gives you 2,042 right now. And I've used both the older versions of the book, which this is, as well as the memorized deck and the online versions, which are the newer version of the book. And I gotta say, honestly, the differences are maybe 100 kanji, and at the end of the day, that's nothing in comparison to knowing 2,000 of them. So get whichever one's cheaper or whichever one makes sense for you. Now, fun fact, when I tell my friends in Japan, hey, I know like 1,300 kanjis, you can write using kanjis, I'll probably be okay. They can't believe it, because most of the time they'll tell me, I probably only know like 1,000 kanjis. The first 1,000 you learn from grades 1 through 6 is the vast majority of the kanjis that you will use for the rest of your life. So when I say, when I told my friends I know like 1,300 back in September, I, in theory, knew more than they did, which is kind of weird. Now I gotta tell you, everybody that I met at all the language schools that I've gone to, who are higher in level, at some point used this book. All of them. There were 0 exceptions to the people that I met that used this book. And I think there's a reason for that, but I'm not here to split feathers, guys. Now I gotta throw this in just so, you know, I don't get crucified online. This is not a totality kanji learning device. This is for very specific thing. It doesn't teach you the yomikata, the how to read the kanjis, the readings of the kanjis, but it does teach you the kakikatas, how to write them in the traditional file and format, even though I don't recommend you guys writing them. We're in the 21st century. When do you ever write anything? Everybody types, everybody reads, everybody texts. Like, I can't remember the last time I had to write something in English, let alone to have it be legible for another English person to read. If I do, I doodle for myself or do notes. So truly, the kakikata, the way of writing kanji, just don't worry about it. That's not a review on the textbook, that's just a Chad Pro tip, don't worry about it. But it does teach you technically how to write them, and it does teach you the meaning of them, which I think those two things tend to be the hardest things for people to figure out, at least for me. So yes, for not teaching yomikata, even though that's the next book in the Heisig book series, so I can't hate it that bad, I will deduct a point, but because it has 2/3 of the other equation in this one book, as well as having over 1,000 more kanjis than you probably need to be okay in Japan, I give the book about an 8 out of 10. Now, we're going to go into value, but value is a very big deal for me, so let me preface this with two things. One, there is a free PDF, I'll link in the description down below if you guys want it, and if the link's broken, then I don't know, maybe they took it down. But it's the first 250 kanji with the full method in the book. It's basically the first chunk of the book that you can use for free. Go to the book, get through the first 100 kanjis, and see, does this method help you remember them? Does it help you with the writing if that's what you want? Is it something that would benefit you to incorporate into your study regimen? And if so, then do it. If it doesn't help you after that first 100 kanji, you go, hey, I think my method's better for me, well then there you go, your method's better for you. But I'm adding this to the value because, hey, giving out 250 of your method to let people test before they have to actually buy your product, that adds value as far as I'm concerned. And plus, I think the book breaks down to like a penny per kanji anyways that it teaches, so, you know, for $24 for this whole book, I think that's quite a hefty value. The next thing that comes into play with this is a supplemental textbook. This should not be your main textbook. This should not be your only textbook. If you guys have watched my other reviews on any of the other textbooks, you know that my main dilemma, my main criticism of normal Japanese level textbooks, beginner, intermediate, advanced, is that their kanji methods suck. They suck so hard. They don't teach you anything. They do what every other book does. They'll give you vocab with the kanji and expect you just to plug it into a flashcard and learn it. Or they'll have the kanjis in the back of the book listed with all their yomikata from the most used to ones that you'll see once in this book or maybe once in your life, and they expect you to learn all of it for no freaking reason. There is no reason to be learning half of the readings of these words because you will not use them. And that's where part 2 of this video is going to go. I tried to do it in this video, but it would make this a 20-minute long video. So next week, I'm going to give you guys how to incorporate this book into your study regimen. How does it work? How does it look so you're not just running flashcards all day or writing kanji 100 times until maybe your brain will pick up on the muscle memory. There's a better way, and a way that saves you time, and what saves you time makes you free up time to study more and to get farther ahead, and you will learn more in 3 years than most people will in a decade. But that's not going to be this video. That'll be next week. So we're going to stick to value. If you're studying regularly with a normal textbook, with a teacher, with a tutor, whatever your method is, this book is an excellent supplement book. In fact, one of the most highly recommended books across the board. So for value, I give this a solid 8 out of 10. I would buy this a dozen times over. A penny for every story that it gives is invaluable to me. The amount of time I saved with this in conjunction with a smart card, flashcard app, saved me probably $6 grand if I were to take the same amount of time learning these in a school setting in Japan. Spend the $24, that's my opinion. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Have you used this book? Do you not like that this doesn't give you the readings? What do you think? Put your brain and crunch it down, stick it in the comments so I can read it, and let me know what you guys think. And also, this isn't the only way to study kanji. There are several, I would say, very good ways. There's a lot more that are bad, but there are good ways. So what ways did you study? Let me know in the comment section down below. I might just review it on my channel. And if you guys liked the video, be sure to like it down below. That helps me so stupid much. You guys have no idea, but I won't gawk on that for now. And if you guys did like this video, check out the rest of this series. Check out the rest of my Japan series, my tea times, my live streams. I put out 2 videos every week, and if that's stuff that you guys like, please consider subscribing. I'm very active with my user base, and I'm here to help you guys. I would like to help you guys if I can. Also, new update, podcast is going to start, I think 2 weeks from now. We do our first testing for the Wicked Miscreants Dungeons & Dragons podcast this week, which you guys won't get. This is just a test round, and then we'll start weekly for that. I think I'm going to do them on Mondays. I haven't really decided. And second update, I finally bit the bullet. I made a Patreon. If you guys, this is strictly for people who have gained so much from my channel that they would like to give back. I wanted to give them a method to do that. I do all this for free. I don't, beg for money. I don't want necessarily your money, but I do all this out of pocket. If any of this stuff breaks, I pay for it out of pocket, and I'm fine with that. But if you would like to help me maybe stress less about this, or you'd like to give back to something that helped you and could possibly help others, click the Patreon link. I think I'll put it in the description. I don't know if I can put it on screen. They're getting rid of annotations, so I don't know how all this stuff's working. So yeah, if you're one of those people, please check on there. We have cool stuff like, I don't know, postcards, personal handwritten letters to say thank you, stickers, and song translations, and all sorts of cool things that just are there to say thank you for helping me. But I won't gawk on now. Part 2 will be next week of this. Stay tuned for that. Be kind to one another. I don't know, hug a small child if you're a female, because if you're a male, that's creepy. And if you're a male, maybe high-five yourself. Anyways, have a good week, guys, and I will see you on Saturday.